Go. Hi, everybody. Uh-oh, that doesn't look like it's good for you. Okay. Welcome. Hi. Hi.
Hi.
I'm here with Kim. This is I Got My Miracle. And I'm going to scoot over this way so that we're in this together. This is I Got My Miracle, which is a weekly live broadcast that we do from Rythmia where we select one person from the group that did the retreat this week that sort of represents the field of miracle that occurred and occurs every week at Rythmia. So I'm super excited that you guys are here, and I'm super excited to be here with you, Kim. Welcome.
Glad to be here.
Thank you. So, okay, really quickly, where are you from and what brought you to Rythmia?
I am from a small town in the Mid-Hudson Valley, New York.
Okay.
And what brought me here was an interview with Reverend Michael and Jerry Powell, I think, on Take Back Your Mind on the podcast.
Awesome. And what you shared with me earlier was you got an intuitive hit and it said you need to go, and you make it a point to follow those intuitive hits.
Yes.
And we were talking earlier, also you're a member of Agape East.
That's right.
So you've been on this path of spiritual
It's about 4
growth
years.
and development for a while.
Mhm.
And so I want to get, like, for everybody that's just watching, to get to the exciting part, right? Like, what was your miracle this week? What changed for you? What's different today than a week ago?
It was very dramatic. On Monday night, I had a horrible experience. And after things settled down a little bit, I spent the rest of the time planning my escape.
Yeah.
I was wording what I was going to say to the front desk so that I could get an early flight out, and how I would have to call my house sitter, and the ride picking me up at the airport, I have to rearrange everything. And I thought, well, I need Tuesday to settle down, so I'll get out of here on Wednesday. And that was Monday night.
So you were ready to bolt
I was ready to bolt.
after Monday.
And I was so upset. I decided not to go to yoga on Tuesday morning, which was part of the program. So I was sitting at breakfast, and guess who walks in? Jerry Powell.
Yeah.
And he said to me, "Hi, how are you doing?" And he was crying and said, "I want to go home." And he said, "Let me get somebody to talk to you." So he found Meg Pearson.
Meg, we love you, Meg.
And she and I talked for quite a while. And I just came around to seeing that I came here for a purpose. And she also assured me, which was really what made me want to stay, was that there were other options. And I did not have to drink the medicine. I could have a tincture instead, and I didn't have to leave. I could still do the rest of the program, the breath work and the meditation and all the other kinds of parts of the program that were offered. So that kind of relieved me a lot. And during that day, I thought a great deal about it and said, okay, I came here for a purpose, so I'm going to stay.
Beautiful.
Tuesday night, I did not drink medicine, and I took the tincture and spent a lot of time thinking about what I had got the night before and doing a lot of forgiveness of family, parents mostly, and understanding that they were protecting themselves, and which is how their behavior impacted my life as a very young child, and that I could release some of that blame and anger and hurt. So that was Tuesday night.
Beautiful. And that was just on the tincture.
That was just on the tincture.
Now, tincture is a homeopathic expression of the medicine. Homeopathy in the sense that you don't need a full dose, you need the vibrational frequency. So it's not even a microdose.
Right.
It's not even at that level. It's less, even way less than that. But just being in the maloka, in the ceremony, in the vibration of the healing, I think is very
was powerful.
Very powerful.
Still. And the insights that I got at that point were important.
Totally. Releasing anger and resentment.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I had known for a while, I forgot to mention this, but when the cat had the surgery, that's when I started crying. And I just had tears were coming up all the time from then until I got here. And I was aware, I was pretty sure it was because I had made the commitment and that it was already working in me.
Yes.
So Wednesday night was a big night. This was the Divine Feminine night, and I was looking forward to that anyway. And so I took 2/3 of a cup, 1 cup. And the first, I'm a writer, among other things. And so the evening was divided up into chapters. So chapter 1, I saw all these tables, and they were like not used for a long time. They had silverware settings on some of them. Some of them looked like gaming tables with game boards, but there were no people at the tables ever. And so that was, and that alternated with gates that seemed to be made out of kind of PVC pipe. And so I finally said, okay, Mother Ayahuasca, I'm going to go through one of the gates. That seemed to be what she wanted me to do. So I started to move forward. And then chapter 2 happened. Chapter 2 was, I'm standing in a doorway, a large doorway, watching myself, my body being cremated. It was I was wrapped in a black shroud and going on a conveyor belt into the furnace.
Wow.
And I saw the glow of whatever was gas, I don't know, coals, whatever was under there, glowing under the, whatever it was that I was in, some sort of tray or something.
Furnace, incinerator.
Yeah. And it was darkness all around there. And so that's when I lost it. I started to cry because I was dead. I died, and I was crying for myself because I died. Heavy duty crying.
Yes.
And then I noticed to my left, there was a semicircular room, and there were figures in the room, people, human figures, that seemed to be made out of a kind of brown smoke. And these were all the spirits of the people in my family, not just my family, who had died. And so I started naming them off. My mother, my father, my aunt, my sister, my marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And that made me cry even more because I was saying in the dream, they all died and they left me. They left me all alone. And then I saw Meg had said, well, if you have that kind of experience, see who's at your funeral. So I asked, well, who came to my funeral? And I knew my daughter would. And then I saw my son, who had 2 or 3 years ago, had taken his family and moved to Australia. And I realized how angry I was at him for leaving. And I started cursing him out. And then, in the distance, I saw my husband, who has dementia. He's now in a wheelchair, and he doesn't talk. He's pretty hard. There's not much coming back from him at all. And I got even more angry at him. And I started cursing him out also. And then I stopped, and even in this vision that I was having, I realized that he and I had made a soul agreement before we were born, that he would be my little soul in the sun, and that he was going to teach me selflessness and caregiving. And boy, he did.
Mm-hmm.
And still is. He's still alive. So that was chapter 3, are we on now?
Yep.
And let's see, I don't want to miss anything. At this point, I was out of control, sobbing. One of the helpers came over and she brought some lotion, and she put lotion on my arms, on my forehead, on my chest. And it at that point, it didn't help. It didn't help. I was crying hard, really hard. I do remember when she came over, she had very long, curly hair. And I remember my first reaction was that there's somebody beside me. And I looked quickly, I thought it was Jesus, which was kind of cool. And
He makes an appearance every once
yeah.
in a while.
And I remember turning to her and saying, they all died and they left me. Keep on crying. And so she came over, she left, and then she came back and said, the shaman wants to do a healing on you. And that was fine. And she helped me over to the low ottoman, I guess it's like, in front of the shaman, who's just a beautiful looking woman. Anyway, Ananta is her name.
Yes.
And before we started, I said to her, could you also heal my little self, my child self? Because early on, I guess on Monday night, I had an experience that showed me that there had been a lot more trauma in my childhood than I realized. So she did all the spitting in the face and the lotions and the feathers. I got whacked a lot with the feathers, and she was working a lot on my heart. And I remembered something that one of the other participants had said, which was he asked to see his heart. So I asked a few times, show me my heart. And then I got this crazy vision of behind the shaman, there was a huge trunk of a tree. And the tree reached out its arms. And in its hand was a hawk. And handing me this hawk. So I took the hawk and I put it in my chest. And then I said, can my little self have one too? And she got her hawk. And then I said to her, we both have hawk hearts now, and the hawk's going to protect us. And its wings are going to be over us, and I will protect you. And you come with me wherever I go. And I went through all of that, and then I guess the healing felt like it was over. And I looked up at the shaman's face, and she had turned into a jaguar. And I was so blown away, delighted. And I said to her, you're the jaguar. And she said, she gave me a huge hug. She laughed and she gave me a big hug. And she said, welcome to the jungle. And after that, I got up and there was live music playing. So I walked over to look at the musicians, and they all had jaguar faces. And there were people dancing. I danced for a while, but when I sat down and I was watching the dancers, one of the men had a tiger face with these beautiful white stripes and incredible pattern of stripes on his body. And another one had a jaguar face with also with stripes. And there was a wolf dancing. And then all of the helpers walking around had little ears on their heads. And everybody had pretty much jaguar jaguar faces. And so it was so delightful.
So, okay, I'm hearing this through the lens of show me how I've become, merge with my soul, heal my heart, which are our three intentions here at Rythmia, our three group intentions. And so I want to ask you, out of that, what did you see that you'd become? And and tell me a little bit about the merger.
I can't really say what I became. It's what I lost. I became lighter. I released so much sadness and pain and anger.
Well, that's the you said, if I can,
Mm-hmm.
there was more trauma in my childhood than I realized. And trauma isn't what happened; it's the story that we tell ourselves about what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And as you said on night one or night two, as you on the tincture reviewed what happened in night one, you were able to forgive your parents and understand that they were protecting themselves. I think that was the word you
Yeah,
used. They were
yeah.
protecting themselves using the tools that they had. And the death and rebirth, the vision of the cremation and who came to your funeral, and that thought, that resonant thought, they died and left me. That feeling of abandonment, that feeling of being left, which caused anger and resentment. And so, the for me, also what I've heard in our conversation, you're an author, you're on a spiritual path, you've been studying at Agape and taking the classes, and um, so you became. I mean, usually the coping mechanisms that we use are like people pleasing or codependency or addiction or avoidance or hyper success or hyper independent. Those are usually ways that we protect ourselves from feeling angry, resentful, sad,
Mm-hmm.
left behind.
Mm-hmm.
So, any of those things resonate with you in terms of coping mechanisms that you
That
use?
I've had in
Mm-hmm,
the past?
mm-hmm.
Oh, for sure. I've stuffed my feelings for 74 years.
So that avoidance and pushing down, that's sort of like the who we became
Mm-hmm.
as a means of protecting ourselves from the feelings of resentment and anger,
Exactly.
sadness, rejection.
I also became terrified of conflict.
Right. Because if we can conflict with somebody, then we could be rejected, right?
Exactly. That mostly came from my father. I was not allowed to express strong emotion because he couldn't deal with it.
Right. Right. So that's sort of the who we became piece, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then you've already talked to me about your younger self, right? And you shared in your story, your younger self was with you. You got a hawk heart for your younger self, right? This is the merger.
Mm-hmm.
This is that like realization that I'm going to take you, I'm going to protect you because you didn't feel protected, you didn't feel loved, you didn't feel enough, you didn't feel safe, you didn't feel like you belonged as a child, and we're sort of stunted in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Not stunted, but there's a part of us that's stunted. There's a part of us that's still 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 feeling, why'd they leave me? What's wrong with
Mm-hmm.
me?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so the merger came as you reconnected with your younger self.
Yes.
And loved that part of you, reparented yourself.
Yes.
To a great degree.
Yes.
And then the heart, right? Then the healing of the heart and the forgiving of the unforgivable.
Mm-hmm. I forgot another part.
Okay, come on. Yeah, of course.
After the whole healing thing and all the animals, I went to the bathroom.
Amazing things happen in the bathroom at Rythmia.
Right. I had my little self, which I ended up, my sister used to call me Kimmy. And my mother, I hear her always saying, Kim dear. So Kimmy Kim dear came with me into the bathroom, and I was saying to her, okay, we both have hawk hearts. Now I'm going to protect you. You can come with me wherever I go. How do you feel about that? She said in this little voice, okay. And then I said, okay, well, what do you want to do? What should we do? And she said, paint. And one of my favorite pictures of myself, as I'm probably about 3 years old, I have white blonde straight hair and these big blue eyes, and I've got a watercolor paintbrush in my hand and I'm looking at it. So I think that's kind of what came up.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
I hope you're going to paint.
I am. Because another thing I realized in reviewing all of these experiences is that I do a lot of fabric crafting, and that I've kind of felt stagnant for a while in it. So I think I'm going to learn watercolors.
Beautiful.
At least that's the sort of that's
Yeah.
the plan. Let's see.
I love it. I love it. So all in all, it sounds like you had a magnificent week.
It was wonderful. And Thursday night was really long. That's a very long night to stay up most of the night. And
But did you love the sunrise in the morning?
well, I kept waiting for it to get light and talking to the sun, come up already. But yeah, that was a very peaceful. I felt so full of peace after that.
Yeah.
And I really didn't get. Meg had also said, if you've had all the three intentions, then you can ask, well, show me what I should be doing next, or what's going to happen next. And I asked several times, and nothing was coming through.
What would you have me do? Who would you have me be?
Right, exactly. And so I just kind of rested and slept for a little while and said to Mother Ayahuasca, okay, tell me while I'm sleeping, or whatever you're doing. If you're not going to show me, fine.
So I want to offer this to you, if I may.
Sure.
The medicine does not create anything. It reflects what's inside of you.
Mm-hmm.
And from a agape spiritual perspective, this was hard for me to say for a long time. I am God. You are goddess. There is no separation. We are the thing itself. As Reverend Michael frequently says, I am that which thou art that which I am. Which is hard to swallow, right? Because you're like, well, I'm not the supreme creator of the universe, but we are. We are that essence of life that is the I am consciousness, which is the highest part of us, is the presence of God itself. We are, we say at Agape, I'm not praying to anything, I'm praying from an awareness, and yes, I'm already one with it. And so in this way, you've asked several times, still, if I may be like pointed,
Mm-hmm.
The languaging is still talking about something outside of you.
Yes.
Well, Mother Ayahuasca just tell me in my sleep. But the truth is that with this merger, as you've come back together with the truth of who you are, all the answers are within you. Mm-hmm. And it is in the continuous integration process that you'll engage in, and with your meditations. I think meditation, I know that as an Agape member, you're a meditator as well.
Long time
right?
Meditator.
And so these are now, meditation becomes the way that we reconnect with the medicine. And for me, the medicine showed me what is possible in meditation. Like my meditations were not as rich before the medicine. But once I started doing
something to look forward
totally,
to.
Totally, right? Because now it's like, oh wow, this is possible. I don't think Reverend Michael does ayahuasca because he does that anyway. Like so that's for us too. So now, what does it mean to be a spiritual person? That we're connected. That connection is through meditation. That we receive insights based on our connection, and then take inspired action based on those insights for growth in our life. Connection, insight, action, growth are the four parts to me of what it means to be spiritual. So now, as you are engaged in the question, what's next? What's seeking to emerge? What would you have me do? Who would you have me be? Mm-hmm. Right? It was really the truth of what that little Kim, dear Kim, right? Or Kim dear, right? But there's something in you that you've always known. And obviously you're expressing some of it as a writer, right? That's a long time. But there's that insight will come, and it'll come as direction and inspired action and it might seem off course, but it will always lead you. Will always lead you. So I know that as you continue with your integration process, that those insights will continue. And I personally, after, and this is really for everybody around integration, is after big expansions like this, it's going to take a while for your body to catch up to the spirit, for your physical body to catch up to the spiritual body and the emotional body. Because like the spiritual body is like, okay, I'm good. But the physical body, well, you've done a lot of purging here. It still is, it can only move at the speed of safety. And for so many years, we've been holding on to resentment and anger and sadness and all of those things. And while you released a lot of it, the body, there's like muscle memory in essence. And so your integration will also be observing like, oh my God, these feelings of, I'm just tired, foggy, I don't know what's going on. That's the body catching up to the spiritual body, the physical body catching up to the spiritual body as you continue to integrate. I'm so excited.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I want to hear, like, I want you to follow up with me and let me know how you're doing.
I would love to.
Beautiful. Do you have anything else that you want to say to anybody?
I'm so glad I stayed. I would have lost so much if I went home. And it was wonderful to go through that experience with other people. And the group just feels so close now. There's so much love and appreciation. And it was a wonderful experience. I'm so, so glad I did it.
I'm so glad you stayed too. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to interview you.
Yes.
Thank you, Kim.
You're most welcome.
Thank you. And thank you all so much for joining us. I'll see you next week for another installment of I Got My Miracle. And hopefully we'll see you here with me soon. Blessings.